What is good? Osiris here, stuck in the middle. In the latest episode of Will Florida Save Us All, a Florida federal judge has announced that the CDC nationwide mask mandate for mass transit has been lifted. And let's go to the news here and check it out. This is somewhat breaking as of the time I'm recording this. And people are hailing this as a great news, a great moment for freedom. A federal judge in Florida has voided this whole thing, the national mask mandate covering airplanes and other public transportation, as exceeding the authority of the U.S. health officials. Now, I am going to read a little bit of this article, but many of us were saying this from the start. So why did it take so long? I mean, this has been almost 2 years now. So the judicial system is our last resort. It's the last beacon of hope. It's not perfect. There's a lot of corruption and bias in it, but it is the best. The legislative branch doesn't do anything, and they're just a joke right now. Executive branch, completely a figurehead. Basically said, whatever the CDC says, I'll do it. That's not how it's supposed to work. So there's supposed to be checks and balances all over the place, and it's falling apart everywhere, except for the judicial branch is doing the best. It's not perfect, but it's doing the best. It's saving us right now. The downside with the judicial branch is it takes a lot of money to get to a resolution and a lot of time. So if something happens, then there's no recourse, because there's no immediate recourse, because it takes forever. This decision today, Monday, April 18th, by U.S. District Judge Kathryn Kimball Mizelle in Tampa, also said the Center of Disease Control and Prevention improperly failed to justify its decision and did not follow proper rulemaking. From the judgment, I quote, "The mandate exceeded the CDC's statutory authority, improperly invoked the good cause exception to notice and comment rulemaking, and failed to adequately explain its decisions. Because our system does not permit agencies to act unlawfully, even in the pursuit of desirable ends, the court declares unlawful and vacates the mask mandate." If you want to do a mask mandate federally, you can pass a law. This is what we've been talking about the whole pandemic. It's obviously not an emergency anymore. It's been 2 years. I mean, it's not an emergency anymore. There's no way you could call it an emergency with any kind of common sense. You have had plenty of time to create legislation to pass it through laws. Like I said, the legislative branch is a complete joke. They don't take any ownership of their role in this process. They don't want to put their name on it. Even the establishment cabal types, they don't want to put their name on this. They want a virtue signal, but they don't want to put their name on it. It's not popular. The executive branch really should be saying, hey, I'm not doing this. The executive branch could do this. The executive branch could say, even if they did emergency order, even though that's terrible, they could have, after a couple months, said, I'm going to give you all a time frame. I'm going to let this executive order expire by the end of 2020. And that sounds crazy because I'm not for it at all, but let's just play along with me. Biden could have said, I'm going to let this executive order expire at the end of 2020. If y'all don't come up with legislation by then, I guess it wasn't that important. I'm going to keep it moving. That could have been the whole press conference. No, instead he came out railing against people who didn't take an experimental drug, instead of talking about the responsibilities and duties that they have in D.C. You work for us, not the other way around. And without the judicial system, we would have no balance. You got to give the founding fathers some credit. They saw how the monarchy worked in England back then at the time. They took the different roles of the king or queen. At that point, it was the king. I forget which one is king. I think it was King Henry VIII. And they said, we got to break because that's how the king has so much power, is that they are judge, jury, and executioner, basically. A number of states have sued the federal government to order an end to this thing that covers passengers on crew, boards, planes, trains, buses, and ride shares. And even though there's a lot of the bootlicking left that are flight stewardess and stuff like that who like to take their authority and say, oh, I think there's a corner of your mask that's off your face. While if you're eating those bags of 2 pretzels that they give you, obviously you can take your mask off. If you're thirsty, you can take your mask off. But I think even they are probably relieved by this, so they won't have to police it. It turned them into the police. How else do you police it? I am very much against any type of edict or legislation that you cannot accurately enforce. You got to think about that when laws are drafted and brought up. If you cannot enforce the law, it's a bad law. How do you enforce the mask law? Who is enforcing it? It's the employees at the fast food restaurant. Huh? That tells you the law or the edict, it wasn't even a law, was bad. The plaintiffs here, who are the heroes in my opinion, claim there's no high quality data to support the efficacy of these things. And YouTube can say whatever they want to say. I'm just reading what the judge came to. I'm not making a determination. I can have my own opinion, but I guess opinions are dangerous nowadays. But the judge said, nah, I'm not feeling it. It was not immediately clear if or when the order would go into effect or whether the CDC will appeal. And who knows? They might appeal out of embarrassment and who knows, whatever. It will tell us a lot about where they're at. Because if you want to wear one, you can still wear one. Nobody's making it illegal to do that. Some people are saying it's a win. I think it is a win. It's a reason to have a little bit of hope and faith in the system that's been set up. Florida leading the way again. I mean, this is one of the reasons you wonder why Brandon's approval is so low. People see how stupid this stuff is. We got to force a mask on a 2-year-old on the plane, but a 50-year-old is eating pretzels without one? Have you lost your mind? So it's no different than China. They got them locked up and all that. They've gone way further, but none of it makes sense. And it's not about what they say it's about. So this is great news. Clap. To me, it's a white pill. I mean, a little bit. I don't know if I would call it a white pill, but it's a good moment to enjoy. And hopefully it stands up. I think they're going to appeal, but I hope maybe they don't. That would be a good sign if they just said, you know what, this is an L for us. That would be even better. That would be a white pill moment, a little bit more of one. Florida, let's go. And I'm going to book. I told her from last year, I'm not flying on a plane after a certain date in January because we already had a trip planned. I told her I'm not flying anymore if they're doing this mask cosplay garbage, because and it's not just about the mask stuff. It's I don't want to go into a situation where there's an ideology that goes against me, and to me, the mask represents an ideology that hates people who think independently, and I'm not putting myself in a situation where that could happen. Somebody on Twitter, we were just chatting, somebody said, in my gym, they turned off Fox News. They used to have Fox News, CNN, all that kind of stuff. And they were like, would you complain? And for me, I was like, no, I wouldn't complain because why would I need to out myself? And I don't even I think Fox News is crap. So it's not that, except for Tucker, maybe Laura Ingraham sometimes. I used to like the 5, but not as much anymore. But it's not about me liking Fox News. It's about, that represents you like to censor things. That's the principle that bothers me. I don't need to watch Fox News. I'm listening to Alex Jones or Joe Rogan or Tim Pool or Adam Krigler. I mean, I'm listening to who I listen to. I don't care. I got my headphones on. But what you did is you outed yourself as an authoritarian or pro-authoritarian, and you don't like points that you don't like counterpoints. You don't like free speech, obviously. Not that you can't, not that it's illegal to do that. I'm just saying you obviously aren't a proponent of free speech, and obviously you probably don't like people. There might have been people in your gym that like Fox News, and you don't care about them either. So my answer was, nah, don't say anything. let your membership expire, find somewhere else to go, or cancel the membership, and let's realign with people that we respect each other. We don't agree on everything, but we respect each other. That's a dangerous situation if you're going to that gym every day and you've outed yourself as somebody who spoke up and was bothered by Fox News. Now, there's no right or wrong. People might think my take is soft there, but that's my opinion on it. So good news. Those people who are pro-authoritarian, they're still out there on the planes and all that, but this is a little bit better of an atmosphere for free thinkers and for freedom. Let me know what you think. Take care.